This is the Bitcoin Citizen. My name is Ghanem and welcome back to this video series. In the last video, we covered how Bitcoin passes all 6 properties for sound money. However, buying Bitcoin is not enough. If you don't know how to protect it, you risk losing it. In this video, I'll show you exactly how that happens so it doesn't happen to you. You need to understand what Bitcoin is and how it works before you can understand how to protect it. People hear about Bitcoin and they rush in to buy it on an exchange, but nothing good comes from rushing. And in the Bitcoin world, make one small mistake and the Bitcoin is lost permanently. But once you understand how to protect your wealth, it becomes second nature. But the key is to put in the effort. We need to think of Bitcoin as generational wealth, and we need to treat it that way. But the reality is this: most people buy Bitcoin and immediately put it at risk without even realizing it. One of, if not the most dangerous action someone can take is to leave their Bitcoin on an exchange. So let's discuss why that's the case. Most people who don't understand Bitcoin buy Bitcoin and leave it on an exchange, thinking they did the right thing and now they own Bitcoin. The problem is they don't actually have the private keys for their Bitcoin. That means they don't actually own the Bitcoin. The exchange has the private keys. All you have is a promise from the exchange that they'll give you back the Bitcoin if you ask for it. Here's something that most people don't realize. Your bank deposits are insured on the exchange, whether it's with the FDIC in US or the DGSD in Europe. However, it doesn't apply to any Bitcoin that's held on the exchange. If the exchange goes bankrupt, your Bitcoin is treated as an unsecured claim. There is little to zero chance that you'll get it back. Another way people lose their Bitcoin is by falling into the complacency trap. Some people might say, I don't have enough Bitcoin. It's not worth self-custodying it. I'll just leave it on the exchange. But when the price goes up and that small amount is worth a lot, they regret not taking the actions to protect it. Many people think big exchanges can never go bankrupt. However, remember this: Mt. Gox, at its peak, was handling 70% of all Bitcoin transactions worldwide. So people left their Bitcoin there confident that it's too big to collapse. However, in February 2014, it all came crashing down and anyone who had Bitcoin on the exchange lost everything. To give you an idea, if someone had $200 worth of Bitcoin in 2012 and they decided to self-custody that Bitcoin instead of leaving it on Mt. Gox, they would have over $1 million today. So never underestimate what you think is just a small amount of Bitcoin. Now, there are 3 major risks associated with leaving your Bitcoin on an exchange. The first is exchange hacks. Over $10 billion worth of Bitcoin has been stolen from exchanges alone, whether it's Mt. Gox, FTX, or Celsius. The name changes, but the outcome is always the same. People go to bed with Bitcoin and they wake up with nothing. And it's not just Bitcoin. When an exchange gets hacked, your personal information goes with it. Your name, your address, your ID, everything you use to open up the account. The second major risk is account freezes. There are documented cases where accounts were frozen due to receiving funds that are flagged as suspicious, even though the account holder did nothing wrong. Coinbase alone froze over 10,000 accounts at law enforcement request in 2025. If Bitcoin is under someone else's platform, it's under someone else's rules and someone else's control. The third major risk is platform collapses. Dozens of exchanges have gone bankrupt, been hacked, or simply disappeared. When this happens, your Bitcoin vanishes overnight. It usually starts with your accounts being locked out and then the exchange filing for bankruptcy. People who trust their life savings to these exchanges never get their money back. For me personally, this is the scariest thing: to go to sleep with Bitcoin and waking up one day to realize it's all gone. It's completely out of your control and there's no one to turn to. I just really hope that people understand this and they get their Bitcoin off of the exchange. The last thing I want to talk about is this: the government doesn't want you to self-custody your Bitcoin. Governments and institutions will push you towards ETF, treasury companies, Bitcoin-backed loans, and centralized exchange platforms. Anything that keeps your Bitcoin within their reach. ETFs are not Bitcoin. You own shares in a fund. That's it. If you don't hold the keys to your Bitcoin, you don't control anything. Don't be fooled by suitcoiners or YouTubers who promote Bitcoin-backed loan companies. You can get liquidated and your Bitcoin taken away when the price fluctuates. You're opening yourself up to counterparty risk if the lender goes bankrupt, like Celsius, BlockFi, or Voyager in the past. And you may not only lose your Bitcoin, but still owe money if the liquidation doesn't cover up the loan. It's just not worth it. And if you hear people pushing these loans, that should be your red flag. The main focus of this video is simple. In the Bitcoin world, there's a saying, not your keys, not your coin. So how do you actually hold your Bitcoin safely? That's what I'll cover in the next video, and it's simpler than you think.